Have you been thinking that you should be doing some core exercises, but you're not sure where to start? I'm Dr. Ginette, and in this next video, I explain my 4 favorite core exercises. You can do one, you can do all 4. At the end of the day, you want to start slow and hold each one for 2 seconds and work your way up to 10 seconds. And you can do them each 10 to 20 times. Give them a try, and then we'll see how you do. The first one that I'm going to go over is called the plank. And so you've got 2 options. If you've never started with a plank, what I would do is start with the more basic version of it. And that means bringing your arms, your elbows just underneath your shoulders. So you don't want to be too forward or too back or chicken winging outside of your body. So stacking your elbows just underneath your shoulders. You can put your hands flat on the ground or just a little crossword. And then from there, what you want to do is your shoulder blades, you don't want to let your shoulder blades sink in. You really want to push them apart. And I would say that's the biggest, I'll say, mistake or error that I see people doing planks is that they let their shoulder blades sink in. So pushing them apart, you're going to want to come up onto your knees, and you don't want to stick your bum out. You really want to keep yourself flat, trying to keep your head in line looking downwards, and you're going to hold that initially. If you've never done it, start with a count of 2 and work your way up to 10 seconds. If this is already easy for you, then at that point you're going to come onto your tippy toes. And again, pushing those shoulder blades out, you're going to hold it. Now, there are other versions that you can do to increase it. So increase the difficulty. So if you're already doing planks, from there you can easily go onto Google and find, how to increase the challenge of the front plank. But one simple way is to bring your toes closer together. You can also lift one leg up at one time, and you have to make sure that your pelvis is staying really flat. This core exercise, the side plank, there's an easier version and a more difficult version, and even there you can increase it you can change it to make it harder. So let's go over some of the basic movements and correct movements on how to do a side plank. So if you're just starting out, what you want to do is stack your elbow underneath your shoulder. So you don't want to have it too forward or too up. You're going to hurt your shoulder. From here, you're going to stack that up. And to start, I would do it just on your knees. So you're going to want to bring your knees backwards. And all you're going to do is bring your pelvis up into the air. Now you want to just keep yourself nice and straight through here. And this arm, you can just rest it on this side. If you need to bring it forward, you can as well. If you want to make it more difficult, you could bring it upwards as well. So if this is already easy for you, then from there, you're going to bring your toes, straighten out your lower body. And then again, you're going to just bring yourself up. Now, obviously this is doing just one side. You'll need to do both sides. Bird dog, sometimes we call it the cross crawl or spinal stability exercise. So this is one of my favorite ones that is the most modifiable that you can do. So let's just jump right in and see how you can do it if you haven't ever done this core exercise. So what you want to do is get yourself onto all 4, nice and evenly distributed. You want to keep your hands just above your elbows, above your shoulders. So you don't want to be too forward or too back or too sideways. So what you're going to do is you want to imagine that you have a book right across your pelvis here. Or if you could imagine that you had a glass of water that is sitting there. And what's really important is that you don't want to tilt your pelvis up to the ceiling or down to the floor. You want to keep it nice and flat. So pretend that you got to keep that book on your pelvis here. The other thing that you want to do is not let your shoulder blades sink in. You really want to push them apart. And that's really going to help activate those muscles. So once you've got that going, then if you've never done it, then just try it. All you're going to do is bring one arm forward and then back down. Bring the other arm forward and then back down. Bring one leg back down, and then bring the other leg back down. Now that would be a good introduction. Now from there, the second step would be bringing the opposite leg and the opposite arm at the same time. And so this is what it would look like. And again, keeping that pelvis, you don't want to dip it down or dip it up. You really want to keep that book flat on your pelvis and keeping those shoulder blades apart, bringing that arm up. And then you'll cycle back down and then switch to the other side. So what you're going to want to do if you haven't done the pelvic bridge is get yourself down onto a mat or onto the floor. And so what that will look like is you're going to lay yourself down, bringing your knees bent up. And then what you're going to want to do is your arms, they can just rest on the side of the floor. Your head can rest down. If you need a pillow, put a little pillow on behind the neck if you're having any neck issues. But if not, straight down on the floor would be great. So what we say is shoulder width apart. So you want to have your knees at the same level as your shoulders. So you don't want to have them too close together or too far apart. Just nice, what we call shoulder width apart. Bring your hands down. What you're going to do is lift your bum up off the floor to make a straight line in through here. And so this is a great core exercise to add into your repertoire.